Hi, residential team. I wanted to show you really quickly our on-call feature in iCM. So right now our nurses are using our on-call feature, but we've split the entry topics so that our program directors can also start using this feature when you guys take the weekend on-call. So I'm logged in as George Washington. He has the program director permission set. So hopefully this all looks familiar to you. But from your home screen, you are going to scroll down to the on-call log. You guys have access to all of our homes within iCM, so you should be able to see all of this because you need to as the on-call program director. You do have the ability to select some different features to go ahead and narrow things down if you want it to look something up that's been entered previously. But I'm going to go ahead and start by showing you how to add an on-call log. So if you are the program director on call for the weekend, this is how you would add your calls. Now, there's no rule that says that you have to do this within real time. So, for example, I had the awake overnight on call for a while. I used to just keep sort of a running notepad next to my bed. And that's where I would write down some of these details. So I would write down the date and the time of the call, the staff that I spoke to, and what went down with the call. So you can go ahead and enter these after the fact. You just need to make sure that you meet your deadline for Monday morning after your weekend on call. So there's nothing saying that you have to do this in real time. I know that that was a bit of a worry for some. We just want to make sure that your logs are in fact entered within the system by your deadline on Monday, which I will be honest with you, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's 10 or 11. But this is how you would add a call. So you would do this for each call that you have. So you go ahead and add it and you put the date and the time. So if I was backtracking, say I got a call, on Saturday, and it was at 10 a.m. I would select the homes. Now, George Washington, I was just messing with him. So he only has access to one home right now, but you all would be able to select any home because you have access to all of our homes. The staff calling, this should pull up all of our staff in the system. So if it was, maybe it was Abraham Lincoln. And then the type of call, what we've done is we have sort of narrowed down this list for you. So that way we can look and see very quickly if this was a nurse that took the call and that's their call log, or this is a PD on call. So you want to, as a PD, select PD on call. And then you have a whole bunch of subtype of calls under here. So you have subtype of calls regarding the person. There's stuff specific about the staff, a vehicle accident. There should be like a maintenance repair in here as well. This is all customizable. So if there's anything here that you want added, just let me know. But you do have the option to select other if you don't see something that matches what you're trying to enter. But if this was, maybe this was a staff call out. If it was about a person, you can go ahead and select the person. It does give you the option to select NA. So if this was specifically about a staff and it had nothing to do with a person, then you can select NA. Notice it does have a requirement for that section with that little red asterisk, which is why you have the ability to select NA. If this was about a person, so say maybe this was like an ER visit, then you would go ahead and select the person. Again, the only thing showing for George Washington right now are the individuals that are in this home. It should come up with the individuals that are tied to the program or the home that you selected. So hopefully that helps you to narrow it down. So maybe this was Donald Duck. And then, of course, you have your description and your action. If you did keep sort of like a running log, like a manual running log, and you want it to combine everything, that's fine. So like if there was like a whole bunch of back and forth, you could enter them all as separate calls. Or if you want it to just sort of make a running list, the only thing that I would ask that you do is that if there was a bunch of back and forth, make sure that the staff is the same staff. If it was a different staff that you're speaking to, then it really should be a separate call log. But then also note the different times in here. So maybe the first call was at 10 a.m., but then you called them back and then they called you back and then you called them back. I would just make sure in your description and or your action that you are noting those separate times if you're combining your call log all into one. Otherwise, then you would have to enter each call separately. So that's, I want to say it's up to you, but it's also up to Jackie. So I'm not sure how you guys are currently doing it right now. If you're able right now to sort of summarize multiple calls into one, if it's all the same subject matter, then you can do that in here. I would just suggest that you make sure that the staff remains the same and that you are noting the different times. That's very helpful when it comes to investigations. Otherwise, then you would just have to keep going back to the list and entering a new call. So in this description of Donald Duck went to the ER, again, just like your normal call logs that you're currently doing, you would want to note that, you spoke with Abraham Lincoln. Abraham said that Donald fell and hit his head. It was not witnessed. And Donald was conscious. Say that he was okay. Abraham called the on-call nurse, the 911. Abraham is going with Donald to Baltimore Washington Medical Center. And maybe your action is, please call me back. Please call me back, with updated details if he's admitted or if he's discharged. You have the ability to add an attachment. So if staff, sent you a document or sent you a picture or anything like that, you can upload that here. So that way it's connected to that call log. But then you want to come up here and click save. So now this is the one that you just entered. You can click back into it. You can edit that. So if you were sort of doing this in real time and you wanted to go in and add more details, or, hey, they called me back and this is what happened, you can go in here and you can edit that. And then, of course, you would save it if you edited any of that. The other thing that you can also do within your actions is you can mention the program director. So say, this is one of your fellow PD's homes. You can mention them here. You can mention them up in the description as well. That way they'll get that alert within iCM that they've been mentioned, and they can quickly, when they're back on shift on Monday morning, they can quickly go in here and say, oh, hey, I have a call specifically about my caseload. Let me look at this. That way you don't have to send out an email. You don't have to send out a text. And they don't have to wait for that call log to come out on Monday morning. They'll get those mention alerts and they can immediately go in and check the next time that they are back to work. So you can go ahead and click save. You do have the ability to make any comments to this. I would suggest that you keep all of your narrative within the call log itself by going in and editing it. But you do have the ability to make a comment, and you can see the history as well. So you can see like who went into this each time. So if we're pulling the call log, I'm not sure if this is the program director on call or if the admin specialist does this. But to pull this, you can narrow down your window. So say, I want it from, this weekend. And my type of call, I'm going to narrow it down to the PD on call, because otherwise I'm going to get all the nursing on calls as well. And I'm going to go ahead and filter that. That way I can just see just the program director on call log, and I can go ahead and I can print that list. And it shows everything that's in that call. So this is something, again, whoever is currently sending out the call log, this is what you want to send out in your email. And this would show all of the calls for that weekend time period that you have entered. And this is what you would email out. There's no reason for us to save this within ICM. So like you can save this as a PDF. I would save it as a landscape. That makes it a little easier. And save it. You're just doing this to email this out to your fellow program directors. There's no need to save this within ICM because we already have the call logs within ICM. And we can rerun that report at any time. So no need to save it within ICM. You're simply printing it and saving as a PDF to share that call log with the other program directors. So that is the call log in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if we need to make any customizations with the type of calls, please let me know and we can edit that to make that easier for you. All right, thanks.